The sun will come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar there's tomorrow. Come what sun. Just thinking about tomorrow clears away the cobwebs and the sorrows. Till there's none. When I'm stuck with the day that's gray and lonely, I just tickle my chin and grin and say, oh, the sun will come out tomorrow, so you gotta hang on till tomorrow, come what may.
Well, I chose that song because that was the last song that my mother hummed the day before she passed. So I think it's appropriate. So the angel on Mother's Day 2003 was my mother. And she brought the message. You know, I remember it was Mother's Day 2003, and I had saved up $50 to buy my mother a gift. And of course, I had to use. And I remember specifically that day looking out the window and seeing a drug dealer, and he had stopped using. And I was like, so what's up with me? You know, why can't I stop? So I proceeded to use the $50 and I got high. And, you know, my sisters, as usual, they took my mother out for dinner for Mother's Day. And she came back, it was late, I don't know what time, it was dark outside. And she rang the doorbell, and I was too high to go downstairs. So I proceeded to go into the bathroom and try to take a cold shower. It doesn't work, you know. And then I went into my room and I pretended that I was asleep. And she came up the stairs, she brought up her gifts that my sisters had brought her, and she stood at the door, at my room door, and it's amazing you hear so many things when you're in situations, and a little thing is what's, like few words is what will do it. And I remember she stood at my room door and she said, "Thank God for the girls." Oh. The shame, the guilt, pierced my heart. I was embarrassed because I had a good relationship with my mother. She's very special to me, you know, and I remember that's when God, the God that I serve, lifted the obsession and compulsion for me to use drugs. You know, and I used very hard. I was a greedy addict. I wanted it all. I wanted all the drinks at one time, sniff everything up one time to just numb the pain, just numb everything. And she just said that, and she walked down the hall to her room. And I sat and I said, this is it. I have to do something. I have to do something, you know. And that Monday, so it was Sunday, Monday And my sister spoke about it, and I surrendered. I totally surrendered, knowing that I didn't have to fight anymore. I didn't have to fight anymore. I surrendered and just turned it over to that higher power. And remind me to tell you about the letter if I don't, about the burning letter. And that Monday I got up and I started calling other families and friends, and I told them, listen, I've lost the battle over drug, alcohol. You know, some were surprised because they thought I only drank. They didn't know about the cocaine. And then I also had to surrender and humble myself in seeking help. So I had to call a place where I took my clients to get help, where people knew me. Because I remember on many occasions taking clients to detox and I just finished using. So I was embarrassed to go to this place, but I was totally at surrender. So I said, I have to do this. And I called the center and they gave me an appointment to come in. I said, I'm gonna have to do this. And I think at that time, my mother, because I'd cut off myself from people, places, and things, you know, and I think my mother knew that there was a change, because when friends called, she would say, he's not available. And I looked at Jonah, who kept running from God's will and ended up in the fish belly for 3 days. So my resurrection came also on the third day, because I stayed home for 3 days. I didn't speak to anyone but my family or friends who were willing to help me. And on that third day, that's when I walked out of the house and went to my outpatient program for the very first time. And when I walked into the program, I had a counselor, and he looked at me and he said, it looked like you're serious about this. And I spoke again. I spoke to him about my mother and the relationship that I had with my mother. And he said, what would you do if your mother died? Because in my recovery process, I learned that they are what we call reservations. So if my mother died, I'm going to use. If my kid died, I'm going to use. So he's like, what would you do? And that was 12 years ago, because I haven't used in 12 years and 5 months. I haven't used any substance. And when he asked me that, I told him, if she died, I will not use. My mother died this January and I didn't use. I didn't even think about using, you know. And just the joy of being there, being able to show up, was there with her till she took her last breath. You know, so that was really, really good. The letter now, I got back. Remember, the letter was written in December 2002. I got it back that December. I'd completely forgotten about it. And when I got the letter back, I realized every prayer was answered. And the first thing that I asked for in the letter was to stop using. And then I'd asked for to be closer to my family, to show up. I spoke about health, because the way I drank, I thought my liver was gone and my health was good. So everything that I asked for was granted, I was blessed with. So the question is now, okay, you've cleaned you up, what is it that you want me to do? Because you didn't just clean me up to be clean, or just to walk around. There is a purpose here, so the journey begins. You know, and one of the things that I started to do, I just remember being sent to a place where a lot of other people use also, and they congregate and they have their meeting and you share your stories. And I remember walking into that place and talking about writing folks off, because in my field I've written off a few clients, like even though I was using, I was like, he or she will never make it. And when I went to that place, the first person that greeted me was one of my clients. And she got there before I did. She had gotten her life together before I did. And she greeted me. She did not judge me. She didn't ask me what am I doing here. She just said, welcome.
Hello, my name is Richard Adofo, video editor for Don't Write Me Off, Part 1 and Part 2. I met Lloyd some time ago, and just the first few minutes of the conversation, I got to know how genuine he is. And the most amazing thing is if you meet Lloyd, obviously, from the first instance, you're not going to be able to know what he's been through. I only got the chance to know what he's been through, and I even call it an honor to know what he's been through just by editing the video. Obviously not the entire story, but it gave me a peek to what this man has gone through. In the part 1 of the video, he says he mentions something so instrumental. He says, wherever you go, you take you with you. So though he was making a change of location, what needed the most was a change of heart. And thank God he was able to get to that place. You can make all the geographical changes that you want. If there is not a change of heart, you take you to where, and I thought that was such an instrumental piece that he mentioned. In the part 2 of the video, when he starts to talk about his mom, it was definitely unexpected to see him tear up the way he did. And it hit me very hard because his mother is no longer with us. The line where the mother says to him, I thank God for the girls. I was watching it and it just broke me, you know. It just broke me. And he talks about the $50 that he had saved up to buy a gift for his mother. Addictions can be so strong. Addictions can be so strong that it overrides the love that you have for people. But as strong as addiction or addictions are, God's deliverance power is stronger. So though this addiction that had him bound up was strong enough to override the love, I won't say the love, but to override something that he had wanted to do for his mother. As strong as that addiction was, we thank God that his deliverance power is stronger to pull him from where he was. If you know someone who's going through, just tell them to go watch the video. And by so doing, you are carrying on the gospel too. Take every opportunity to share God's love. And I think this is an incredible opportunity for you to hit share on Facebook or wherever that you may find yourself, whatever media platform that you may find yourself. Thank you very much for watching this video. My name is Richard once again, and let us continue to pray for Lord. Let us continue to gird him up in strength, because this is just the beginning. God bless.